This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Hello and welcome to the Paddock and The Pavilion, with me, your host, Stephen Wallace, for today's cricket episode. It's always a special occasion when I get the chance to speak to a current player, and today I'm delighted to welcome back Warwickshire's experienced opening bowler, Olly Hannon Dalby, who first joined me on episode 18. In this episode, Olly reflects on Warwickshire's 2024 season, shares highlights from his testimonial year, and looks ahead to what the county hopes to achieve in 2025. So sit back and enjoy this engaging conversation with one of cricket's most respected players. Hello, Olly. Welcome back to the Paddock and the Pavilion.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, it's good to be back. I can't remember last time. Was it 2-3 years ago? But yeah, nice to be back.
It's longer than that. Last time we spoke, I could hardly believe it, but it was in November 2020, and we were in lockdown.
Wow, geez. Yeah, don't give me... Which lockdown? Lockdown 2, lockdown 3, zone number 2? I forget all the permutations of being in... zone 1 where you could meet 3 people, and then zone 5 where you could meet... Yeah, what a nightmare it was. It seems a long time ago. I'm glad I've forgotten about a lot of it.
Yeah, playing cricket when you're cleaning the ball and nobody watching you, and
Yeah, all that. Yeah, I'm glad it's a distant memory. Hopefully not to be repeated.
And you're getting ready for Christmas?
Yeah, currently sat in Halifax. My family's from Halifax. I'm actually sat in the car because the house is pretty busy, and it's a nice quiet spot I could find. So sat outside in a chilly car. But yeah, up north in Halifax to spend the festive period with the family. Should be good.
Oh, you're not the first person I've interviewed in the car. I was just thinking, I spoke to Jordan Wiley, the man from Hunted, the TV programme.
Yeah.
About horse racing, and Jordan was in his car as well, so you're not the first.
Yeah. Nice quiet spot, like I said.
The other thing I must mention, the last time we spoke, I began by asking you about it's always made me laugh ever since, about your debut in the second 11 where you played at Stamford Bridge, where you reminded me it was Harold Hardrada's last hurrah, really.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I remember doing that in A-level history, and for whatever reason it stuck, probably because I was playing cricket there pretty often. It's Stamford Bridge Cricket Ground, which is a really lovely place, actually, full of lovely people. You play there all through the Yorkshire age groups and Yorkshire second team and stuff, so probably stuck in my brain because I played plenty of cricket there. But yeah, Harold Hardrada's last stand, I think, until he got knocked off by Harold Godwinson, didn't he? Who then had to leg it down to Hastings. That's right.
It. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Right.
And I think we mentioned it before, but Chris Wokes played in that game as well, because you were playing for Yorkshire, obviously, against Warwickshire. Yeah.
That's right, yeah. I think I looked at the scorecard, but yeah, Chris Wokes was a young man. Ian Westwood was playing, Jim Troughton on the Yorkshire side. I think Matthew Wood might have been playing, and Richard Dawson, who's now sort of England Lions coach. So yeah, a few old boys in there, but yeah, some good names, good memories.
Nearly 20 years ago as well now.
Yeah, I think it was 2006. Yeah, so yeah, it'd be nice to get that to that 20-year mark, and still be playing 20 years later. That'd be nice.
In this podcast, we're going to talk about the 2024 season, look ahead to 2025, and a few other topical questions. But let's just start with 2024 for Warwickshire, 7th in the county championship, Metro Bank semi-finalists, and quarter-finalists again in the T20 competition. What were the key reasons, though, for only coming 7th in the county championship?
Oh, I mean, to put it bluntly, we did really well with bat and ball in the first innings. I think our batting bonus points and our bowling bonus points are up there with the best in the country. For whatever reason, in the second innings, whether that's third innings or fourth innings, we just seem to not play very well, either not bowl very well or not bat very well. It's something we're looking to address this winter. First division cricket's really tough. There's no doubt about that. if you look at the sides at the top, they've got some serious batters and bowlers in all teams, and you need a serious squad to compete with the Surreys and the Somersets of this world. And for whatever reason, this year we probably had a few injury troubles, certainly in the bowling department. But yeah, a club like Warwickshire should be finishing a lot higher than seventh. It's nice to survive and stay in the division, because obviously if you get relegated, you've got no chance of winning Division One. But yeah, there's no way we should be sort of languishing down that end of the table. We should be a lot nearer the top. So something that we're looking to put right this year.
Bowling wise, you're way ahead of the wickets wise of every other bowler in the squad.
Yeah, me personally, like I say, it was a tough year as a team, but personally, it went pretty well. To get 50 wickets in a year is always nice. So yeah, to do that from a personal point of view, that's really nice. However, I think for the health of the club and the health of the team, I think probably if 3 or 4 of us are getting 40 wickets, that's going to be a lot healthier than sort of one of us getting 50 wickets, if I'm totally honest. So it's probably something we need to look at as a team.
50 wickets for the third season in a row for yourself.
Yeah. Like I say, every year, if as a personal accolade, try to get 50 wickets is something you always look at, and to do it 3 years in a row is something I'm really, really proud of. So, from a personal point of view, nice. But as I just said, I think from a health of the team and a health of the club point of view, if 3 or 4 of us were getting 40 wickets, I think that would probably be a lot better, and we might be a bit closer to the top of the table.
I've got to mention your batting at 17 innings, 10 not outs.
Yeah. Always left stranded. That's my problem. Always, the 50s I could have scored in my career, Steve. What could have been.
Well, you're still waiting for that first ever 50. We scored
Yeah.
you scored 35 runs last year, just to put your not outs into perspective here. Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't know if I've painted myself into a corner with my batting, because I see I've sort of developed this niche of being the guy who, just don't get out, don't play any shots, because then the guy at the other end can always, he'll slog it. And I always seem to be batting with Michael Burgess. Me and him sort of had some great partnerships over the years. But invariably, I scored absolutely 0 runs, but the partnership might be 50, and he's just scored all the runs. So it's a tricky. I'm sort of in a bit of a pickle whether I've just become this balls-faced man. So if I get 0 off 24 balls, have I done a good job, or do I actually go down Baz ball route and actually try score a few boundaries or try score a few runs? But then I might only face 6 balls trying to do that. So I'm not too sure. I think if I'm honest, I think the coaches would probably say just be a balls faced man. If I face 20 balls, hopefully as a team we've scored 30, 40 runs, I think is probably the way it's going to go. But yeah, it's frustrating at times when you feel $1 million and you get declared on, or someone gets out the other end. Or I'll be honest, one of the most frustrating things sometimes is when I'm batting with, say, a Michael Burgess or a top order batter, they've obviously got to be probably on strike more often than not. So if I'm facing the last 2 balls of an over, I might play a few nice shots, but we can't take the runs. So I might flick it down to fine leg or clip it off my legs, and it's just a dot ball. It's going out to deep square, but we're not taking the runs. So the runs I'm owed in my career is probably, Steve, up into the at least maybe 25. Yeah.
Yeah, you still haven't got the career 1,000 runs yet. You're in the not quite 700.
Yeah, and obviously, given what I've just said about balls first, it might take me another 10 seasons to get there. But certainly a first-class 50 is something I would really love to do. It might take me a while, but I'd love to get a first-class 50.
White ball cricket was much better for Warwickshire, although obviously it must be hard when you keep getting to the T20 quarter final, was top in the group and then getting knocked out.
Yeah, listen, that season, which we got to a semi-final, a quarter-final, that'd be the envy of a lot of counties all over the country. Getting to 2 latter stages in both white ball comps is brilliant on one hand, but on the other hand, it's happened a couple of years now that we, haven't got to the finals day in the T20 comp or got to the final in the 50 over comp. And again, a club like Warwickshire, you're expected to win silverware, and it's something the fans expect, and it's something we expect as a playing group. We should be looking to get to finals day. So it's a nice problem to have, the fact that we are getting to the latter stages, but just getting over the line in these semi-finals or quarter-finals is something, again, we need to address as a team.
You were a regular in the Metro Bank One Day Cup. What do you think to the competition now? There's lots of people criticising the competition for the standard and things like that, but does it provide a lot of opportunities to young players?
Oh, listen, I mean, we all know that it's running alongside the 100, and, the ECBs or the Parrot Bees focus is probably on the 100, and probably rightly so, given how much they've invested into it. I still think 50 over cricket is an absolutely brilliant form of cricket. It's got a bit of everything, really. The start of it's probably a little bit like a 4-dayer. The middle of it facing spin might be a bit of 4-day cricket, and then sort of last 20 overs, 10 overs. It's a bit more T20, isn't it, really? So I think it's a brilliant test of you as a whole cricketer, really. There's a bit of 4-day cricket in there and a bit of T20 cricket in there. There's a lot of skills you have to use, whether with the bat, if you're only non-down in the power play, do you keep going, and do you go to T20 really soon? Or if you're in a bit of trouble, do you dig in? And equally with the ball, if you're on top, there's 4-day skills that you can exploit. Or if you're getting whacked everywhere, a few T20 skills with Yorkers and slow balls. So I think it's a really good test of you as a cricketer. And yeah, the opportunities it's allowing for young players to play, but equally someone like me who, if 50 over cricket was on its own, I might be nowhere near the side type thing. We might have too good a side for me to be in it. So some of the opportunities that it's allowing is great. And like I say, I think it's a brilliant format. And also, I mean, we had a scheme this year with Warwickshire where we went and played at rugby school, which was brilliant. Edgbaston is a fantastic ground, but there is only so much grass out there, and there are only so many wickets that can be used. Gary Barwell, the groundsman, his team do an amazing job. But there's only so many strips. So to go to an outground, a school where 3,000 people felt like 10,000 people because it's a lot more intimate, it's a bit smaller, was just brilliant. So yeah, I'm all for it, really. If 50 over cricket travels around a few counties and you play a few outgrounds, that's brilliant for me. And I don't see any reason why it can't survive alongside the 100 as well.
I was just about to mention that about rugby school and other counties that are playing at outgrounds. It's a bit like the old, NatWest Gillette days when they're playing at club grounds.
Yeah, I think it's great. And some of the best weeks of my career have been at club grounds, just because Edgbaston is amazing, but it's designed for 25,000 people. And sometimes when there are 5,000 people in the ground, it can feel a bit, soulless, and you can end up being stood in the field 200 metres away from the nearest fan. Where at an outground like York or Scarborough or Rugby School or Colwyn Bay, invariably you stood about 2 meters away from someone on the boundary, and they're giving you a bit of stick and you're giving a bit back, and it's just a lot more intimate, a lot more fun. For those games in particular, don't get me wrong, if it's finals day and big games at Edgbaston are absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong, it's one of the best places to play cricket you can imagine, but there is something about outground cricket that just is a little bit more intimate and a little bit different. And like I said, some of the best weeks of my career have been on outgrounds, so I think it's great. And again, just to get cricket around the county. Warwickshire's a big place. Yorkshire's a big place. There are, various counties that are big. And if you live south of Birmingham, then getting to Edgbaston, I can imagine at times it can be a bit of a bind. So to take cricket in that direction and to be at rugby school and getting cricket or first class cricket around the counties, or around the county is brilliant for me. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Some teams are obviously affected more by selection than others, but it must give that the chances of young players, they're fast tracked into playing a higher standard of cricket quicker.
Yeah, well, there's no second team cricket that goes on during that period. A lot of players get pulled into the 100. So the Warwickshire squad is literally focusing on 50 over cricket, and we saw this year with the likes of Michael Booth, Kai Smith. You saw opportunities for young players, and certainly in a few cases those young players took those opportunities with both hands, and that can only be a good thing.
Thank you for tuning in to the Paddock and the Pavilion. If you are liking this episode with Olly, why not subscribe to the show via your social media outlet? Plus, you can follow news about the podcast on X, Facebook, Instagram and stephenwallacemedia.com. Now let's get back to Olly to hear about his testimonial year. 2024 was obviously a very important year for yourself. It was your testimonial year as you've now gone into the dark.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know why my car's just... Here we go, let me try... There we go.
You're back, yeah.
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what happened there. My car decided it was, I don't know if I missed on my own. Yeah, really, really honoured. I came down to Warwickshire from Yorkshire on a bit of a 1-year contract and didn't really know how long it was going to last. So to have clung on for, I think it's 12 years now, and to be finally, well, not finally, but to have been awarded a testimonial year is something I'm really proud of. And it's a nice sort of celebration of my career at Warwickshire. It's a fabulous club. It's a club that's been really, really kind to me. So I took a chance on me when no one else was that too interested. So yeah, it's a really nice celebration of my career at Warwickshire. That's not to say I'm done yet. I'm certainly not hanging my boots up anytime soon. I've hopefully got another few years left in me yet. But yeah, it's been a nice year celebrating, the 12 years or 12 seasons so I've had at Warwickshire. It's been great.
You had some fabulous events. I noticed you had one involving Jeff Thompson. Is that right?
Yeah, we had a dinner in Edgbaston with Jeff Thompson. He's certainly a character. He's got a few stories to tell, but he was great fun, great value to sort of hear some of the tales he's got about scaring people and fast bowling and whatnot from back in the day. It's amazing, really. I don't think he's still fit as a fiddle now. If I'm honest, he's still got like that streak of long, luscious blonde hair. Something I'm very jealous of. And yeah, I think he could probably bowl pretty quickly now, if I'm honest. So he's a very entertaining man, and he's got some great stories.
So was his former rival Dennis Amos there that night?
He wasn't. He wasn't. He was invited, Dennis, but I don't know, for whatever reason he couldn't make it. But no, it was just Tomo on his own. But it was good evening, good fun.
Oh, Dennis wasn't running scared again like 1975. He didn't. He won't hear this, will he?
I wouldn't know anything about that. Like I said, Dennis couldn't make it, but it's funny. Obviously, there were serious rivals during their playing careers, like I said, Dennis was invited and unfortunately couldn't make it. And I mentioned to Jeff, I said, "Oh, I invited Dennis Amos, couldn't make it," and just straight away, he was, "Oh yeah, brilliant. We had some great rivalries, but since we've met up since, it's all fun and games. We've got great fond memories of sort of playing against each other, which is really cool to think that when you play it, however ferocious it might be on the field, as soon as your playing days are over, you're probably pretty good mates."
It certainly was in those days without any protection.
Oh yeah, geez, yeah. I mean, I bowl about 70 miles an hour. I wouldn't want to face myself without much protection. The old tea towel down the trouser leg for a thigh guard and whatnot. To think facing someone bowling 90 miles an hour with very little protect, no helmets and whatnot, I don't think I'd fancy that.
What other events did you have during the year?
Various, really, your classic golf days and opening dinners and stuff at Edgbaston. Probably the highlight was a dinner at Lord's. Literally about a month ago, we had a dinner in the long room at Lord's, and it's very kind. I think if you wanted to book Lords out as a Joe Public, I think you'd probably have a waiting list of about 10 years. But the MCC and Lords are very, very kind, and every year say to any beneficiary, any testimonial, that they can have a dinner at Lords if they want. You don't have to take them up on it. So yeah, really luckily, had a dinner at Lords there, celebrating with a room full of great people. Had a family table, so to have my family down in the long room at Lords was brilliant, and yeah, something I'll always remember. It's obviously an amazing room in world cricket, so to be sat there with my family celebrating my cricket career so far was very special.
Yeah, so far, as you said. You're also supporting some charities during the year.
Yeah, two brilliant charities really. So supporting Cure Leukemia, who sort of do what they say on the tin. Really, they try to cure a pretty horrific disease. The Cure Leukemia offices are up the road, the QE in Edgbaston, and try their very best to cure what is a pretty awful disease and has affected me and my family a little bit. With various people we know who've been touched by the disease, which is absolutely awful. So to raise money for them is absolutely great. And also the PCA Trust, the PCA, the Professional Cricketers Association, are basically any professional cricketers union in this country, and they've got their own charity, and they do great work, helping people who fall on hard times. Cricketers are like no other profession, and they can fall on high times. There's some pretty horrific stats around what happens to players once they leave the game. Things about divorce rates and suicide rates are pretty awful. And I'm sure your listeners and yourself might have seen some of the footage around Sid Lawrence around T20 finals day and some of the awful things that Sid is going through right now with MND. Is an awful disease. We all know that. So the PCA Trust help people like Sid who've suffering and have played professional cricket. So yeah, two amazing charities, and to raise money and help them any way I possibly can has been great.
I guess you're now tidying up the testimonial. Yeah, no more events left now.
No, well, yeah, it runs. It's literally a calendar year. So from the 1st of January 2024 to the 31st of December 2024. So what have I got left? I've got about a week left. So I might go busking at Halifax train station one night in between in that dead week between Christmas and New Year. I might go take my guitar to Halifax bus station. But apart from that, no, we're done. And I've had an absolutely brilliant year. Some great events, met some great people, and hopefully raised some money for some great charities. So yeah, it's been great fun.
One player you do know well and played with in 2024 is a young man in the news at the moment, Jacob Bethell. And in our previous podcast, you came across Joe Root at a very young age. He's not much younger than you, but you've bowled at him when he, I think, was 12. I think you said. How do they compare as young players?
Oh, geez, you're testing my memory now. Well, listen, they're different. They're two different entities. I think probably it'd be fair to say, as a younger age, Joe Root was a very technically correct batter. Probably didn't have a great deal of power. I remember him being a young 15-year-old in this young boy's body who you couldn't get him out for toffee, but he didn't have loads of power. He would sort of stroke you around and whatnot, but he could probably clear the ropes, which he could do definitely maybe 2 years later. Whereas Jacob's probably got that one-day capacity, that power to clear the ropes almost from the get-go, which is probably indicative of young cricketers these days. I think certainly myself and someone like Joe, we got brought up on red ball cricket and have probably had to adapt to white ball cricket, where I think you see a lot of these youngsters these days get brought up on white ball cricket and perhaps have to adapt to test cricket, or maybe not adapt that much if people are playing baseball like we've seen Jacob do it. I mean, it's funny you mentioned Joe Root and Jacob there. I don't know if you know, but their dads both played together at Sheffield Collegiate Cricket Club. They have a pretty strong family connection, really. So, Joe Root's dad and Beth's dad both played together for Sheffield Collegiate Cricket Club in the 80s, 90s, and I think they know each other pretty well. So it's pretty funny family connection there. And I'll be honest, I think in that side, you would have had a young Michael Vaughan as well, very young teenage Michael Vaughan, and maybe even a very young Richard Kettleborough, the international umpire. So Sheffield Collegiate has got some pretty fine pedigree in producing, some pretty good cricketers.
Oh, they certainly have. Were you surprised he got selected for the Test side?
Perhaps a little bit, because I mean, probably like everyone, we've all seen what he can do in white ball cricket, and what we've seen him do for the Bears in the T20 comp, and then he's obviously got picked for England later in the year and played brilliantly against Australia in that T20 in that white ball series. I think Beth, probably by his own admission, would say he's not smashed red ball cricket in the UK. So for him to get picked up on a Test tour probably was, a bit of a surprise. But he's clearly done things to impress people in that England setup, and then whatever surprise people might have had, I think we've all seen straight away in Test cricket that he's quelled those rumours or quelled any doubt pretty much straight away by batting absolutely brilliantly at number 3 for England and looking like an absolute duck to water and like he's belonged for many years. And I'm incredibly proud of him. I think he's clearly done very well and clearly going to be part of England's plans now in all formats for probably the next 10, 15 years, which is absolutely amazing. However, from Warwickshire's point of view, I don't think we're going to see a lot of him at all. So amazing for him, but I'm a slight bit jealous that I'm probably not going to see a lot of him for a while.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be playing too many games for Warwickshire, and hopefully be in the Test side now.
Oh, well, listen, I mean, this is off the top of my head. They've just finished in New Zealand. He's currently at the Big Bash. I think from the Big Bash, they'll probably go straight to India for a white ball tour. Then I think he's in the IPL. That's until June the 1st. He's away. He's away in the stars. Really, like I say, he's England's player now, and I think he's going to be an incredible cricketer for England for probably 15 years. And like I say, I'm disappointed we might not see a lot of him, but fair enough. That's absolutely amazing and a massive feather in the cap of the Warwickshire system and the Warwickshire Academy that he spent a lot of time on. That he's flown so quickly into Test cricket.
And as a bowler, with these baseball tactics, how would you fancy bowling to some of these baseball batsmen?
Oh,
Or do they bat like that in the county game when they play now, the duckets and when they play county cricket?
They do. Probably bits and. I mean, you're talking about some very, very good players here. They play the situation. If they're playing on an absolute green mamba and it's cloudy and it's doing all sorts, they probably play a little bit more conservatively. But if the cards are in their favour and they're on a flat pitch and they can do what they want, then they're going to come hard at you type thing, and you have to adapt. You either have to think about bowling a different line, bowling a different length, or probably defending with your field. We all know that you probably want to be bowling about top of off stump, and it might be a case of getting a few sweepers out, so those big shots are only going for one instead of four. But it's definitely a challenge. There are some very good players, and if you get them on a flat pitch, then it can be incredibly hard work. So yeah, it's a different challenge.
And have you noticed since, say, McCullum's been the England coach that more county players, when the wickets are flatter, play more in that sort of style?
I think it depends. I think it probably depends on the player and the team and the conditions. So I mean, if you're bowling at someone who thinks I want to try play for England, they probably are playing in that manner. Someone who's 35 and think I'm probably not going to play for England are probably playing a little bit more traditionally. And again, yeah, if it's a really flat pitch and these players think I can do what I want here, then yeah, you're probably going to have to adapt quickly. But if it's a green one and it's doing a bit, then they probably play a little bit more in the shells. But yeah, probably player depending, I'd say.
Especially some of the younger players then coming through. Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt, you come up against a young player or someone already involved in the England. I mean, we played against Ben Duckett this year, and I think he peeled off 150 chanceless. He might have even got 200, and it was pretty ridiculous. And you couldn't really bowl at him because it was a good pitch, and he could sort of toy with you and do what he wanted with you really. So it's yeah, probably depends on the player and if they're involved or not, if they're trying to get involved in baseball.
You would think the way you bowl into someone like Ben Duckett, you would really trouble him. But because he leaves the ball so infrequently, yet he can still score a staggering amount of runs.
Yeah, for whatever reason, he's sort of developed this game that says that yeah, I'm not going to leave many balls, and you'd think that would equal more chances, but he's developed a way that he doesn't really, and those late cuts and those dabs down to third man and those slashes through point, the hard work at times, and that's what he did to us at Edgbaston this year, and he played really, really well. So, yeah, you've got to adapt pretty quickly, get some sweepers out pretty much, or bowl really, really straight.
One player who will be playing with you next summer at Warwickshire is Tom Latham.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that got announced a month or two ago, and yeah, to sign a top order batter of his pedigree, international captain, opening batter is absolutely brilliant. So I'm excited to see what he can do for the Bears, and yeah, hopefully help us get up to that top end of the table and win some silverware.
He's had some previous county championship experience, and he's going to play the whole season, I think, for Warwickshire.
Yeah, certainly. That's what we've heard as well. Yeah, hopefully going to be available for the entire season. I don't really know what New Zealand's schedule is next summer, but yeah, hopefully he's here for the entire summer. And he's obviously predominantly, I'd say, a Test cricketer, but I remember him playing T20 cricket for Durham and being pretty hard to bowl at. So if he's available for all formats of cricket, that's brilliant.
And Yorkshire will be back in Division 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we saw that this year. I think they ended up playing some really good cricket towards the end of the summer, didn't they? So yeah, Yorkshire back in Division 1, a few trips to back up to Headingley and hopefully Scarborough. So that'll be good fun.
You'll be hoping that somebody called Mr. Brook will be unavailable that game.
Well, if it's available, I hope it's a bit of a green one rather than an absolute flat road because it's bowling at someone like him or Best or Root on a flat wicket could be hard work. But no, I mean that's what Division One cricket's about. That's what being a professional sports person's about. You know, you want to play against the best players. You want to test yourself and hopefully come out on top. That's what it's about. So no, if they're available, I'll be more than happy to bowl them and hopefully get them out.
Yeah, that's the objective, isn't it? There's some very strong sides though in Division One. Our team's getting closer to Surrey. They've now won it 3 years in a row.
I mean, I'll be honest, like I said, this year was a tough year for us. I was impressed by Somerset as well this year. I thought they had a brilliant squad. Probably a bit different to Surrey, just the sort of way they line up and the way they go about things. You know, we've seen them play double spin a few times with Leach and Bashir. They've got a hell of a lot of homegrown players, Somerset, and there seems to be a really good sort of cricket culture down in that part of the world. If you're playing down there and you walk through the town or you have a drink in the Ringo Bells after, you get quite a few locals, you know, giving you a bit of stick, which is all good fun. So I think Somerset and Surrey were both two really strong squads this year. And I think that's probably the thing. They've got some really strong depth in their squad. You know, if you look at their team and bowlers and batters, there's a lot of people in both squads who can probably get picked, really. And that's something I think the rest of the division are probably trying to emulate. And as you mentioned, signing people like Tom Latham and Ethan Bamber that's the reason Warwickshire is looking to sign these guys to probably hopefully get some more depth, because you certainly need it throughout the county season. There are always injuries, there are always call-ups to England. You know, we've already spoke about Jacob Bethell as brilliant as it is. That means we're sort of down a batter in that middle order. So you need a very big squad, a strong squad, to get you through the county championship season if you want to compete, really.
And is 14 games the minimum really you need for a county championship season?
Oh, certainly, I think so. You know, I love playing county championship cricket. Taking any more cricket away is something I wouldn't be massively keen on doing. I do get the arguments about safety. You know, there's some ridiculous stats out there. Every county's got an example of it. For example, this year we played our first T20 game at 5 o'clock at night in Durham. And our second T20 game was at 4 in the afternoon the very next day in Birmingham. So to travel down from Durham to Birmingham and play the next day, the risks you're running there about people driving tired on the road and then even playing tired. Are you watching players at their absolute best? The risk of injuries, and probably worst of all, as I mentioned, hopefully, you know, someone could have a serious accident on the road. That is not right. But equally, I don't really know the way around to do it. But I personally wouldn't want to see loads more cricket reduced because, you know, I love playing the game and I'd like to keep playing as much cricket as I possibly can, really. So it's a tricky dilemma because there are definitely a few snagging points in the schedule about, you know, playing back-to-back days and whatnot that aren't great. But equally, I think I personally don't want to be playing any less cricket. So what the answer to that is, I'm not too sure. Extend the season into October, maybe 2 weeks. Maybe that's the answer. I'm not too sure.
You can never rely on the weather. Sometimes October can be glorious, but you'd have to start so early, wouldn't you? That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking probably apocryphally here, but I've got memories of most autumns finishing the cricket season and then being stood on a golf course on the 10th of October and it being absolutely glorious and me thinking, well, right, we could be playing cricket in this weather type thing. But that might be wishful thinking, and I might be having rose-tinted glasses on there, just thinking about glorious rounds of golf in October. But yeah, if we could create a bit of time somewhere in the season, you know, that'd be ideal. But how you do that, I'm not too sure.
Some people suggest playing the 50-over tournament right at the beginning of the summer and then playing county games during the 100, but I don't know how that would work.
Well, yeah, I've heard that there's various good arguments out there. I don't think one argument's right and one argument's wrong. Yeah, 50 over cricket at the start, and then red ball cricket in the middle. But then are you cheapening red ball cricket because a lot of players won't be available because of the 100? I'm not too sure. 50 over cricket, the idea of someone absolutely lacing one at me at mid-off on the 1st of April doesn't fill me with joy. Taking a catch when it's 6 degrees with a white ball doesn't fill me with joy, and the spectators having to watch when it's that chilly. That will be great. But essentially, we play a lot of cricket, and we play a lot of cricket in this country because we've got 18 teams, and that's absolutely brilliant. And so that's the reason why we need to start on the 1st of April and play to the end of September, because county cricket in this country supports a lot of people, and there are 18 county sides, and a hell of a lot of cricketers play a lot of cricket, which is absolutely brilliant and something we should celebrate. Really, celebrate how big cricket is in this country, and perhaps not look to sort of diminish it like some people want to do. Really, we should celebrate how many people it supports, celebrate how many teams we have. But there's no doubt about it. It's probably not perfect, and it's never been perfect. It might never be perfect. I think if you look at the PCA records from their first ever meeting when Fred Rumsey set it up 60 years ago, I think their arguments were about the schedule and travel, and now we're getting paid, right? Not much has changed really. I think the arguments have probably always been the same, but I think, to sort of finish this point, we should sort of celebrate in this country how much cricket we play, how many people it supports, how much cricket is out there for people to watch. I think it's a good thing, and we should celebrate it a bit more.
Well, last April it was very hot the first weekend. When you were using those Kookaburra balls, what do you think to them?
They're just different. They're not better, they're not worse. They're just different. They're a smaller seam on the ball. They're a bit more cherry red, as opposed to you've got that image of the Duke in your eye, which is dark, sort of black currant colour, swinging around trees at Lords under cloud is sort of the picture I've got in my eye with Jimmy Anderson bowling. The Kookaburra's just a bit different. It's got a much smaller seam, like flatter seam, but probably a bit wider. But they actually did swing. They swung nicely. I don't think the Duke's ball has swung a great deal in the last 5 or 6 years. Probably seamed around because they've got that big seam. But in terms of genuine swing, Duke's balls don't swing a great deal for me anymore. Whereas the Kookaburra ball, I found swung quite a lot. Albeit that swing might only last 15, 20 overs. But the start of the innings, they certainly swung around a bit. So not better, not worse, just different, really. That's all I could really say.
Moving on then to your own future, I think you're contracted until the end of next season. Is that right?
No, I've got another year after that. So what year are we in now? Right, 2025 season and the 2026 season. So at least 2 years left. Hopefully a few more after that.
So you're hoping to carry on playing probably even till you're 40, like Jimmy Anderson.
But listen, I mean, I don't see why not. I still really love the game. I love playing. Touch wood, I'm keeping myself fit. And, when I'm playing, I don't feel like I'm disgracing myself. I don't feel like I'm sort of donking it in at 60 miles an hour and not bowling very well. I feel like I'm still doing a good job, still really enjoying it. So, I'd love to carry on playing as long as I possibly can, really. Like I say, I love the game, and as long as I'm contributing to wins and contributing to games of cricket for Warwickshire, I'd be keen to do it as long as I can. I don't really want to put a number on it. I just want to keep going as long as I can, as long as I'm fit, and as long as the club want me, really.
Well, clearly, 50 wickets the last 3 seasons. I don't suppose there's any other bowler in the county scene who's done that. You're certainly doing that at the moment.
Oh, I mean, I don't know about other bowlers. I mean, there's a lot of good bowlers out there. I watch week in, week out. I'm a bit of a badger, and I look at someone like Sam Cook, and I think he's an exceptional bowler. Jamie Porter as well. Frank Worrell at Surrey, guys down at Somerset, Craig Overton, people like that. I think there's some really, really good, exceptional bowlers in county cricket. Ben Code up at Yorkshire. So there's plenty of good bowlers out there, and yeah, if I can try to keep up with them and keep playing my trade as long as I can, it's something I'm keen to do.
And as we build up to Christmas, when does training begin again after Christmas?
So we were back in training probably about mid-November, and we broke up on the 20th of December. So good 6-week block there, which is a lot of fitness really. There's bits of cricket going on, and a few lads are going away after Christmas, but it's mainly fitness pre-Christmas. Certainly it's for me. Or if you're a young lad, you might have stuff to work on, but a lot of fitness. We go back after Christmas on the 13th of January, so we've got a nice little break. Our next block from the 13th of January to middle of November, to sort of February half term, we tend to follow the school breaks in the winter. Will be probably 50% cricket, 50% fitness. So you definitely pick up your cricket, you bowl again, you bat again, while keeping your fitness going, working in the gym. And then after February half term, it's a lot more focused on cricket. You've probably got a month until we'll go on pre-season tour, hopefully this year. I think the last few years we've been to Abu Dhabi, where a few teams go, and we go train out there. So there'll be that last month of the winter block will be 80% cricket and only a little bit of fitness, really, maybe 25% fitness, just ticking over, and then get on the plane, hopefully go to Abu Dhabi for a bit of a pre-season tour against various other counties, and then 1st of April will be upon us, hand warmers on, woolly hats on, and we'll be going again.
That's something to look forward to, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. No, it should be good. It comes around quick. Every year it seems to come around a bit quicker, and before we know it, will be 1st of April, all those pre-season nerves and getting your new kit and what's this year got in store for us, and who do you start against first game of the year, all that stuff. It's all very exciting, but it's it'll come around quick, and hopefully it's what was it, the shortest day of the year I think was a few days ago, so hopefully we're on the way up now, and there's a bit more sunshine coming our way.
Well, I can tell you still love the game of cricket. Thank you very much, Ollie, for coming back on the Paddock and the Pavilion. A very happy Christmas to you, and best wishes to you and to Warwickshire in 2025.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for your kind wishes, and thanks for having me on again. What was it? What did you say? It was 4 years since last time I was on, 2020. So probably see you in 4 years' time.
You'll still be playing, yeah. You'll get those 500 wickets, 500 wickets, then first-class wickets, and also probably even that maiden 50 in 4 years' time. Yeah.
Maiden first-class 50. I cannot promise I will have got 1,000 first-class runs by then, but maybe about 100 closer.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
When you're part of a military family, you understand sacrifice and support. At American Public University, we honor your dedication by extending our military tuition savings to your extended family. Parents, spouses, legal partners, siblings, and dependents all qualify for APU's preferred military rate of just $250 per credit hour for undergraduate and master's level programs. American Public University. Value for the whole family. Learn more at apu.apus.edu/military.